Ladies and gentlemen of the committee, I appreciate your time. I've traveled 30 hours from the Philippines doing mission work. Got off the plane last night to catch the red eye to be here.
Why don't you go and stay your position real quick?
My position is against the changes in
and
the bill.
Your name?
My name is Joe Kirkwood.
Okay.
I'm a pastor. I run Cornerstone Outreach Ministries. We give food and clothes to about 27,000 different people in Amarillo, Texas. And I'm here to quickly tell my story. We had a horrendous hailstorm that hit our city. Over 90% of all the roofs in our city were destroyed or greatly damaged. Our outreach center, 30,000 square foot building, was among those. And we had always paid our premiums and everything. We called the insurance company. In our case, was Travelers. They came out and inspected. The adjuster, he said, even pointed out damage to us and everything. Only within about 8 days to be informed that they had denied the claim. Our claim was for over $230-some thousand initially. And we were shocked. My background was in construction. The damage was clear to me. And so I called them and said, please send another adjuster. There's got to be some misunderstanding. They sent another adjuster out. The other adjuster took core samples without even asking us, drilled 2-inch holes in our roof, and then smeared it over with some tar. So there was damage even from that. We never had a roof leak in our building till the night of the hailstorm, in which then we had to put inflatable swimming pools all over our church facility because water was pouring through. Local news media came out and actually filmed it after denial of the claim. And we hired a third-party adjuster after the second adjuster pointed out, yeah, we see some damage, but, the adjuster would say one thing, then the insurance company would deny claim. So we hired a third-party adjuster who found more damage to the roof. Not only that, but all the paint on the side of our building was stripped, and the damage was by that adjuster was over $400,000 that wasn't even seen previously. And so they then denied that. And so we had no other recourse other than to hire a law firm. And they were given notice and all kinds of things, given permission to inspect the property and all that. However, the core drilling of our roof kind of upset us because just about everywhere they core drilled all over that whole roof, we had subsequent leaks, and yet they continued to deny. And we wound up suing in federal court. And as a result of suing in federal court about a week before trial, there was a settlement that was reached. But my whole point is that most of us down here on the bottom, especially in a nonprofit, we don't have liquid cash to go out and hire law firms unless they can do it on some contingency. And we felt absolutely strong-armed by this company. And I was elected 3 terms as a county commissioner in Potter County, and in that sequence, the same company denied claim to the county. So I was aware of what they had been doing in our area. Other churches, other nonprofits went through the same thing in our city, and I informed them of what I had to do, and so they subsequently had to do that. Nobody wants insurance premiums to be higher as a result of frivolous lawsuits, but it may be that the increase in lawsuits is the fact of increase of denial of claim, when it was a no-brainer that there was damage and almost all the roofs in our city were damaged. But anyway, that was my story.
Yeah, thank you for your testimony. And again, I'm just trying to rush because we're
I
about
understand.
to shut down in 2 minutes. But do we have any quick questions?
Pastor Kirkwood, thank you for being here today, especially with your travel schedule. Based on the scenario you described, had this bill been in effect at the time your church suffered losses in the hailstorm, how do you think y'all would have been able to comply with the requirements of this bill? And I want to focus just on the notice requirement that within 60 days you'd have to provide, as the claimant, the specific amount alleged to be owed by the insurer on the claim for damage to or loss recovered property. and then goes on about reasonable necessary attorney's fees. Would you have had a mechanism to be able to accurately calculate that on your own?
I appreciate that question. Actually, we wouldn't have fared too well because me not being an attorney and not, having a lot of information about insurance and even understanding some of the legalese and policies, I probably wouldn't have even recognized that there was some kind of a deadline or anything. It would have probably caused us to have been overlooked completely.
Let's do this, because now we're getting down to the rabbit trail that we probably don't have time to do, so we'll come back and let you continue.
I'd be happy to do
if
that.
You're okay, since you traveled so far.
Yeah, it's important to me.
Yeah, because it's a little more complicated than 60 days and not knowing, because it's 60 days before you file a lawsuit. Generally, you have an attorney before you file a lawsuit. But so we'll talk about that. We'll see you back here when we get back here.
With Pastor Joe Kirkwood, I represent. My position is against the bill, and I run Cornerstone Outreach Center in Amarillo, Texas. We feed hungry families, about 27,000 of them a year. We had a building there, 30,000 square foot building, an old grocery store building that we purchased, and we had a hail damage, catastrophic, and the whole city was affected. And across the street from us was another grocery store, Hispanic grocery store.
Well, let me do this, because I'm going to try to keep us down to the 3 minutes, and so I'd let you go a little bit longer than that.
Sure.
But we had questions for you, and I don't know if we have any questions still. I want to check that.
I recall the question.
Yeah.
You say that your claim was denied, right, Pastor?
Yes, sir.
Did you know the reason?
Yeah, there was no reason. They said, well, let me tell you what they stated. They said that where our building was, the storm split, but the building across the street, 150 feet away, and buildings on all three sides of me, the claims were paid quickly. But nonprofit organizations in our city, routinely churches, were denied. All over the city were denied, and you can look at the stats on that. The stats are there. It almost seemed as if they looked at us as not having the money on hand because we were nonprofit. We didn't have a great deal of cash to fight these claims. And the adjuster came out, gave us an adjustment. We thought there would be something done because the adjuster pointed out damage, but then the claim was denied. I asked the company to send another adjuster. There had to be something wrong because it was pretty visible, the damage. And they sent another adjuster, and the claim again was denied, and we did have to get a public adjuster. The public adjuster found damage 3 times the amount of the original adjuster.
So you had physical damages due to the
so bad that the brick on one side of our building literally popped portions of the brick, baseball size hail. And our roof never had a leak until the night of the hailstorm. The news media came out and actually filmed it, and we put inflatable swimming pools around the building. And with regard to this, what would have not made us whole was this provision in here that we had to give 60 days notice. Well, every single day that we couldn't get resolution, we had incurring damage happening, ceiling tiles, floors that were being damaged, and so 60 days would have even made it even more difficult for us.
Did you try to get the report from the adjuster and see what?
Yes, we did. Well, we requested that. It went within 4 or 5 days of actual trial, and the insurance company settled out of court.
No, but before you get a lawyer involved, did you try to get a report from that adjuster?
We did get a report.
Okay.
Which was oddly very strange because it was opposite the wording of the day that I walked the building with the adjuster. I never understood that. The adjuster told me one thing the day they were inspecting, but the report came back from the insurance company very different than that.
Thank you, sir.
So, and you were answering a question of mine earlier, but what you just said gave me a new question. So you walked the property with the adjuster, and did you see what he or she recorded, or did was it a verbal agreement that this is damaged and this has to be replaced? How did that go?
My construction, my background was construction, so I was on the roof, and they circled with a crayon every place that the hail had hit, which were thousands of hail. We had dents in all the vents. Our air conditioners were damaged drastically, and then later on they devalued the air conditioners for $20,000 units and only gave us $3,000, said that they were older units. And so there was another provision that it's very difficult for the common person to read some of these policies. There's all kinds of loopholes in these policies, and it's very frustrating for us in the public sector who are not attorneys, and difficult to represent ourselves. And we really asked the insurance company, please reconsider. All we were asking was for money for the roof, even though there was even more damage in that, because we didn't want to be litigious in the thing. But it resulted in that they were just firm. They were not going to pay.
But your experience was, despite the adjuster documenting extensive damage,
correct,
the insurance company
correct,
came back and so they weren't going to
correct,
cover.
And then, as I mentioned it before, they came and drilled 2-inch holes in my roof, all over the roof, to core drill it. And all of those patches that they put back in, I said, well, you just drilled a hole in my roof. What's going to keep that from leaking? My background, again, being in construction. Oh, we're going to put some asphalt over that, which they did. All of those places leaked, created other damage areas throughout our building.
So I just had a question. You understand by law, if you were going to pursue one of these claims, that you have to give notice, separate and apart today, that you already have to give notice?
We did give notice after they denied several times. When I got a public adjuster, we did let them know. However, every day that it was being drug on,
right,
we were incurring more damage.
Right. So you're saying they can be drug on today?
Yes.
Yeah.
They are being drug on.
Do you understand, though, that part of the reason for this state is that there are those that are not giving the insurance company any notice at all, maybe 2 years later, then filing a lawsuit, or they may have settled and said, we accept the money, and then 18 months later, all of a sudden, they sue the insurance company after the insurance company thought they'd already satisfied the claim. Do you understand that there are other situations than just in yours, which yours sounds horrible, and you say that insurance company's name again? I mean, that's how the market works.
Yeah, it was Travelers Insurance.
Yeah. So
and they did it all over our city, and,
right,
and well, multiple different insurances hit and it seemed to be targeting nonprofits, quite frankly.
And I'd be glad for us to talk further about that, but I just want to let just so you understand, the 60-day notice is after you've gotten an attorney to make sure that they have that chance to get it settled really quick. Maybe once you put that down.
But what if we would have wanted to represent ourselves and not?
You don't get attorneys. You don't get attorneys' fees anyway.
Yeah.
This is about attorneys' fees is the issue, and if you're going to represent yourself,
okay,
it wouldn't matter because you wouldn't have to fill out that deal because you don't have attorneys'
What
fees.
if the estimate thing kind of throws me the discussion here? If I would have had to have estimated that, or let's say my attorney would have estimated that, and we would have estimated it high, and then later on they settled for less, we would have been on tap for the difference.
Well, if it was settled, it would have been negotiated, so we wouldn't be here at that. The question comes down is, do you not think you knew what the damages were at that time?
I think everybody but the insurance company.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, if a homeowner has a roof and the guy comes out and says, you need a new roof, it's going to cost you $15,000.
Yeah.
I mean, $15,000 for a new roof. I think that's why he changed situations for his loss. You could have swimming pool costs probably that we wouldn't have known about, plastic swimming pool, other things related to that. I think that's why he put in the request to answer that question. Yeah. This is what it's going to cost to fix it. So.
And I don't disagree with insurance companies ought to have some notice, but I'm not sure this is the mechanism, or at least this estimate.
Well, Well, the law's already there, to be quite honest, to do this.
To give notice.
To give notice. The fact
Yeah.
is, people aren't giving notice, so there's just not the penalty.
Then-
That's what the people say that support
Then
this.
why the change if the law's already there? I don't understand.
Because there's no mechanism to support it.
Okay.
And if you'll sit here today, we've got a bunch of lawyers in this
Yeah.
room, and I promise you, they're going to talk about all sides
I've
of this.
noticed them.
And then we're all going to get cross-eyed and then need a break, but we won't
Yeah.
have one. So since that's the case, I'm going to thank you for making the trip and traveling so far. I thought you just traveled from the far west, northwest, but actually you've traveled farther than
I
that.
came from the Philippines.
From
Was
the
there
east.
doing mission work, helping the earthquake victims, and came in 30 hours on an airplane traveling.
Well, thank you for coming, and thank you for feeding those people that are.
I appreciate that. Appreciate the work you guys do too.